Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl joins us this morning on Daybreak Live, and I asked the mayor prior to us coming on if he wanted me to sing belated happy birthday to him, and he said no. I don't understand that.
I've heard you sing before. I appreciate it, though.
But belated happy birthday.
Well,
still in your 40s, right?
Oh, yeah, 49.
Yeah.
I've been hanging on to 49 so long I can't remember how old I really am. I've been at least 20, 25 years at least.
I understand. Stay young, man. Stay
you
young.
have to. You got to keep young.
Beautiful downtown Sylacauga.
Oh, Laura speaking what she's doing, the Chamber of Commerce and the board, what a beautiful competition. This is great. And can't thank Coosa Valley Medical Center enough. They put 2 in front of City Hall, and this was wonderful.
Now, I haven't seen that before. That's a new thing we're doing.
It is. From the chamber.
Yeah.
They're doing a wonderful job.
Well, another wonderful job being done, even ongoing, is the demolition of some of these nuisance houses.
It is. That's the $250,000 we got from DECA, you know, for demolition of these houses. We've been working on it for a couple of years. It's taken this long to get this far. And we still got a little money left over, and we may get some more houses added to it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we're just tickled to death about that.
Talk about a couple of the properties that have been raised that really catches your eye.
Oh gosh, y'all know Main Avenue's been, we got some down there in South Main Avenue we now to get to work on, but it makes such a wonderful appearance for the outside people coming through Sylacauga and seeing this. That's what brings people to us. They want to say, hey, look at this, let's stop and shop here, let's look here, you know. It's
When did you start preparing for the budget for next year?
I wanted to start in July. Accounting clerk had to go to a seminar for certification, and so it's wound up in being August. But we got it in August. We got the prints to all 7 departments. All 7 departments went through it, got it through in the first couple of weeks. Then we got with the accounting clerk, and we sat down there and got all 7 departments out of the way. And then we went down there and just level funded all the contracts and appropriations, and wound up with the $17,100,000 and some odd budget with the $200,000 surplus. Of course, it's changed since then because I was hoping to get it into the hands of the City Council on the 5th of this month. October is our beginning of our year, and but as was, they had some issues they had to go back and look at, and now it'll be on the next budget on what's next Tuesday, though? 19th?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday. It's going to be on the agenda. We're going to have our budget in October.
Yeah. Now, is this level funding, you think, or what?
There's some changes in there. There's going to be employment. We have employment issues. We got 6 people in the street department. We have 2 out sick. That is questionable whether they're going to be able to return. We got 2 in the clerk's office. We got 3 in the code department, and but we're having trouble filling. We had 5 people to apply in the street department, but they backed away because of the salaries. You know,
people talk about, well, what's the big deal about an employee or 2 in each department? It is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's the amount of work you can be able to do, and certain things we have to do under the Alabama State Constitution. And we have to have good qualified, and that's why we've got a civil service board that gives the best people to fill these positions. But right now, we're doing away with step 1. They're going to go ahead, and the council's approved increase in pay raises, go to step 2 rather than step 1. And also for people who are invested, our employees who are invested, got 25 years in, they gave them 2 more steps above that. So that'll be an encouragement for them to stay a little bit longer.
People take notice of police and fire departments. Where are we at on those numbers?
Well, fire department's in pretty good shape. We still need a fire inspector. They need that. He hasn't got a secretary, anybody to maintain the records and everything down. Nate Osgood has to do all that himself. He's the only department that has to do that. So we need to work on that part of it. The clerk's office is down 2 people. Yolanda Burns, finance officer, she's been stepped up now. We need to fill her previous position. We still got an interim city clerk, and that's got to come into focus. The code department, we got 2 permanent people in the code department and 1 part-time person. And the secretary, the assistant to the code department director, she already got 25 years in. She could leave at any time.
Yeah.
And that's going to just leave the interim director. And we got 4 brand new buildings going to be built in the city. not counting it's got to be inspected and prints and all that, not counting the buildings, existing buildings that's being remodeled and has to be brought up to the Alabama State 2015 code. And all this has to be inspected by the...
Can we talk at all this morning about any new businesses coming to Sylacauga that we have confirmed and we know that are coming?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No. Yeah, we're growing. As you see, the sushi building is gone. They've taken that down. That's been on the board for over years. And a new structure will be put there. There'll be other structures, and like I said, we got 4 brand new structures going to be built.
So good news is we're growing.
We're growing. We're growing. Revenue is good. Everything's working good. Of course, inflation's eating us up, and that's the reason for the increase in step raises and starting off pay for the city employees. You know,
inflation's not good right now.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to be looking at a good 4 years. You know, we're going to keep building it. It's happened before. I mean, we've seen it in years past, if you ever watched it, all the way up to 2008. My gosh, interest rates were high, everything else. Pow, in 2008, pow, the bottom went out. That's when we first came in office. Thank goodness we had enough revenue in the back, and we had bonds at the high interest rates. We were able to redo them and get them at the lower interest rates. But we've been able to hang on as a city very, very well.
We haven't talked... had you on this show since the latest census numbers came out. Your thought about that?
Well, we're still above our 12,000, which is good. You know, we can maintain executive and legislative branches of the city government, which is good. You know, and but we're down a few hundred.
Is that every 10 years? Is that when it's done?
Census every 10 years.
Okay.
And we'll look at that too. And we did not have to restructure any of the districts. You know, sometimes you get shows that this district here is heavy, and and then you have to split them up. We had to do that in 2012, I think it was. We had to do that because District 1 was heavily populated, and we had to split that up, and that took District 2, putting it all the way up to Taylor Estates. And the Sprinter to the east, and you just have to balance out the districts for voting purposes.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest for a couple more minutes this morning. I always appreciate Mayor Heigl being with us, and the conversation continues about the splash pad and the pool. Where are we on that with the council?
I don't know. People do not want the splash pad. They don't want it.
Is that?
I'm still getting
Is it
hit
still
with
on the table, or?
Well, yeah, they just. I can't have to go back and think when it was when they appropriated $500,000. They're looking at demolition of the Food World building and putting that down there for future use of a community center in that area. But I see issues there. You know, right now we got $10,000 going to go for somebody to go in there and check, make sure there's no asbestos in the building and clean it out. If there is, I doubt there's going to be, because that building is not that old. But then again, this building is sitting right on top of the munitions plant that used to be there.
Well, more talk that I hear is about the security factors there and the crime that goes on in that area.
Well, that's been brought up too. You know, they do have issues over there. They've had shootings and all that have yet to be solved. And so has
it been decided that
it's not in the minutes? The only thing that's in the minutes is the $500,000 for the demolition and for future use of that property for a community center.
Okay.
They have not definitely said that's where it's going to be.
All right. Now, the splash pad, is that still, because they talked about it was going to start in August, and of course it didn't, and here we are in October, and still nothing has been done physically there. Is that splash pad going right there?
Well, that's what the council says is going. That's what they say.
Okay.
And of course the people do not want it. They want their pool, whatever it takes to go ahead and put the pool, you know, refurbish the pool and put it, all they have to do is bring it back up to code, just where it could be used for a couple of years. If you're looking at a community center, you're looking at years. You're looking at $20-something million, you know, or 15 or 20. I don't know what it's going to cost. It really depends on what you put into it, you know. But it needs to be planned out, you know. Nothing is coming to the Planning Commission. They did bring the splash pad to the Planning Commission, but all it was the drawing of it, you know, and there's no engineering of it, and the code department has received nothing, you know, and this isn't right, you know.
Where are we, Mayor, on the, you know, we've been doing the remodeling, the curbing and stuff like that. Where are we on this?
That's the 2018 and 2019 TAP grant. The biggest problem they had when they started this program, It's an ALDOT grant on Broadway, and they had to have a certified electrician who was licensed by the state of Alabama to do the lighting on state right-of-ways, and that's been the holdup. That's the reason you see these dirty places in there, because where the lighting now is supposed to go. Now they've got one. They found the electrician come here, and these electricians our local people are not licensed for this, because the jobs out there aren't that frequent for them to have to pay that kind of revenue to get the license from the state. So these other people, bigger contractors, they get the license from the state because they work all over. Our local electricians don't do that. And that's the reason why it's been held off this long. But now they've got a man coming in or a company coming in that's looking at the electrical part of the lighting now.
Does the animal shelter, as I think that's what it's called, it may be something else, but is that under the umbrella of the City Hall?
Well, it comes under the direction of our street department, Reed Cappy. Doug Murphy put that in the street department's hands several years ago. I want to get it out from under Reed. He's got enough to do. I'd like to make it a department. I'd like to have a director, assistant director, and 3 technicians to run that place. That way, a director and assistant director, you got a director that can probably be off every other weekend or take a vacation or something like that, you know. But we got enough volunteers out there to help. But this is a cost item, and the council does have to look at it and to approve it. I hate, they do a wonderful job. The Furrow Dogs of Avondale, they do a terrific job.
Yeah.
They put thousands of dollars into this every year, you know, do a great job. And we got another issue too. We lost our nuisance abatement officer, Doug Camp. God bless him now. He told me it's time for him to go ahead and retire. And he was just working 28 hours a week because he was already retired from the police department, and he couldn't work more than 28 hours a week, you know, without messing up his Social Security and everything else. And but he left us, and now I got to get that back into a permanent job, which it was designed to be to begin with. And it does come under the mayor's office, the way he reports to the police department. He has to be a police officer to enforce the ordinance.
So it's a never-ending day, right?
There's always something going on. It's just great, I tell you. It'd be a boring day, you know, if it wasn't for all these issues.
Well, we're in the holiday season now, in the last quarter of the year, and it's the biggest and most important time for the year for merchants.
Very, very important. That's the reason, you know, some of the merchants upset about what the work that was being done on the backside of between 2nd and 3rd Street, because that's their biggest day. But they worked it out there, and the contractor, J3, engineer or contractor, whoever he was, he talked to the merchants and they worked everything out. They got their sidewalks and everything fixed on the backside. There's a little bit of issue with loading and unloading because they had narrowed the streets. The reason why the walk space between the building and the street had to be extended to allow for the grade of the handicap. They couldn't push in there, have it too steep, you know, because that's part of LDOT's and the state codes, you know. And but we're going to put loading and unloading signs up there, let people know so they can curve off, go around. Before they could go right beside the truck, and now they're going to have to divert to the other side.
Yeah, with the holiday season upon us, there'll be more and more traffic in downtown Sylacauga.
Looking forward to it now, yeah. And what they're, like I said, what Laura's doing downtown with this with the Halloween stuff and everything, the fall festival, and golly Pete, it's just, people just,
and more business are jumping on that too.
The energy's starting to build up. You know?
Hey, you always have a hands-on and eyes on what's going on with the COVID issues at Coosa Valley Medical Center, and we applaud those first-line workers. And I'm in and out of there quite a bit with the funeral home. The latest numbers are a little bit encouraging, though, aren't they?
They are. They're starting to drop a little bit, but it's still there. I lost a couple of good friends this past couple of weeks, and they happened so quick. They didn't look good. They went to the hospital. Gosh, and a week later they were gone because they had issues. Yeah. They had underlying issues. One had heart issues. The other one had respiratory issues to begin with. And but it's a shame. Chief Kelly, you need to keep him in your prayers. His wife is not doing too well, and she's up there. I used to keep up with it just about daily, but it's changing so much. But overall, it's getting a little bit better.
Today is a day they're offering the vaccine again up there.
Yeah, they are.
And also at the library here in Sylacauga, another big event today, and a lot of people gather for that.
Oh, they sure do. And I'm sure that they're spacing them out, you know, in the masking.
Do you get to go to that any?
Oh, yeah. I try to go to everything I possibly can, you know. And Miss Sylacauga Pageant's coming back again. We're getting ready for that.
You get around for 49 years old.
Well, not bad, you know. Not bad. I don't have to work out. I stay on the run all the time.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest this morning. Mayor, always a pleasure to have you with us.
Well,
Thanks for the
update. It's always my
update.
pleasure, you know, to report on the way things are.
All right.
It's our city. I love it, and our people are beautiful, and we're growing.
Absolutely. More Daybreak right after this.